thing on the screen here. Oh, it's fading away. This is my first live here on YouTube. It's been a while since I've done a live video of any kind, but I thought it might be a nice thing to just come on and introduce myself and see who, or if anybody jumps on here. If you all have any questions, I can definitely answer them. But as you see from the title of this video, I used to have a laundry list of symptoms that were just plaguing my health. And if you have been around here a while, if you've seen me in the past on Instagram or anything like that, you might know that I am really into holistic health. I think you'll find that as you continue to follow along with my channel and watch some of my videos. Yeah, I'm really into holistic health, holistic lifestyle, natural detoxification, things like that. So I thought I would just share a little bit about me and kind of some of my health history and how I approach restoring balance and vitality to the body in a balanced, holistic, natural kind of way. Baby's next to me here eating some food, so I'm working with her and other kids in the bath. So I've got, things going on around me here, just so you're aware, mom life, those kinds of things. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I'll just start with kind of my health symptoms that I used to have going on, and how I sort of started to remedy them, kind of what I'm dealing with now in my health, what my health approach is, all that sort of thing. So if you can relate to any of this, let me know either live as you're tuning in here or in the comments when this video is posted later. So I was around like 19, 20, 21 years old, and I was just having these like terrible symptoms of bloating and gassiness. Insomnia was a really big one that was just, I was struggling really hard with for a while. I had a little bit of like anxiety. Let's see, not a little bit of anxiety. I think it gradually built up and got to the point where like I had a panic attack one day, and I was like, oh, this is actually a problem. I need to figure out what's going on. As a teenager, I dealt with like what now I would think of as like kind of mild to like moderate acne. Like sometimes it would be kind of cystic acne, just like not really very clear skin. I still deal with that a little bit. I've come a long way in my skin, but looking back, I realized it wasn't as bad as I thought it was at the time. But when you're a teenager, like all those things are just, your awareness of them is just so heightened, and I was hyper fixated on my skin and acne and things like that. So I used to deal a lot with that. Gosh, I had so many other things too, and I just draw a blank on them because it was so long ago. But yeah, things like insomnia, I had anxiety, I was dealing with like really bad like bloating and gas, like I mentioned. And another one was like major adrenal fatigue. Like I was falling asleep driving to and from like work and school, and that was scary. And part of that played into like the insomnia as well. So I had like extreme adrenal fatigue, and then I wasn't sleeping very well at night either. And let's see, I had basically a non-existent libido, depression at times. I went through some like periods of depression, and wrapped up in all of this was the fact that like I didn't have either my cycle at all, or it was just like super imbalanced. And I mean, that's kind of not having a period and a cycle is just a sign of imbalance. And part of the reason that was, and actually most, if not all of these symptoms combined were a result of the birth control that I was taking. But that was also pretty much compounding the fact that my body was just imbalanced in general, and especially so in my lymphatic system and my liver, and with low, like, not low as in like they didn't work at all, but like lower functioning kidneys, I would say. And then also just not having the right nourishment for my nervous system, which also impacts your digestion and your kidney filtration too. And when your kidneys don't filter well, the lymphatic system, which is your body's cellular waste, it gets backed up in your body, and that causes your cells to suffocate, and they can't absorb like proper nutrition or nutrition properly. Just a whole host of symptoms comes from having an acidic and congested lymphatic system, which I know for a fact I have. And yeah, so all these kind of like symptoms, and I'm sure there was lots of other ones wrapped into all of this, but the one symptom that really ticked me off and tipped me off was when my hair started falling out, like really bad. And I dealt with it for a while. You dropping your bananas on the floor. I dealt with it for a while, kind of because I was just trying to figure out like what was going on with my hair falling out, my insomnia, like all these different symptoms, which are common for a lot of people, but they're not normal. And this led me to holistic health and detoxification and diet, and just making a whole bunch of changes. The toxicity of a lot of the beauty and like hygiene products, cleaning products, home products that we tend to use. And if you're, I don't know, if you're finding yourself on this channel, like maybe you're already familiar with all of that stuff, but if you're not, then I don't know, maybe this speaks to you a little bit. But yeah, that's just kind of like my starting point. That was like my launch point of getting into holistic health and lifestyle and like a non-toxic way of living and diet things, and starting to create balance in my body, in my mind, in my relationships and lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really passionate about all those things. And so because I was kind of around the age when me and my now husband, we've been together for almost 14 years. So at the time we were dating, but we'd been together a long time. Now we're married, so he's now my husband. But we were, you know, thinking ahead of like, okay, eventually we want to have children together. And well, if I don't have a cycle, like that's not gonna make things very easy, right? So I really started to focus in on what my cycle was doing and telling me. And I decided, you know what? My periods have been getting like lighter and lighter and lighter. And so I decided I'm gonna ditch birth control. I'm gonna start tracking and charting my cycle with like basal body temperature, as well as changes in cervical fluid and things like that. So I really got into that right at the perfect time. My body, just as like a really neat insight for me and for some people who might find this interesting, but the birth control that I was using at the time was the patch. I don't use birth control anymore, but I used a patch. And so I would wear the patch for 3 weeks, and then I would take it off for a week. And that's when I would have like the withdrawal bleed, which I thought was a period, right? And I had one more patch to put on. So I was like, okay, I'll just wear that last patch. And then once I take that off, like I won't put any more on, and I'll just be done with birth control. Like maybe my body will just be more okay with that because it's used to that. And before I could put on that last patch, my body said, girl, you're not doing this to me anymore. And I started my period, which would have been a week early, or that withdrawal bleed, it came like a week early. So my body was just telling me like, nope, I'm fed up. We're done with this. You already made the decision. You're going to be done with this in a week. We're going to start today. So I started that process a little bit early, kind of unintentionally, but my body and my brain were just saying, nope, we're doing that. And what a blessing that was, because it did really get me started on becoming familiar with my cycle and doing things in my diet and in my lifestyle to support my cycle coming back and balancing and all that sort of thing. So I worked a lot on that for probably a year to 2 years. Like I didn't get like my cycle back, like a period back, a real period. I think it was like almost a year or like just over a year, something around that time period. So it was a while. It's not like that for everyone, but for me it was. So I'm glad I started when I did. I'm glad I made that decision when I did to get off of birth control. Let's see. And then I believe it was my first cycle that I ovulated is when I conceived with our first daughter. So all kinds of like divine timing up in that story. So it was really cool. And yeah, so that was just a huge thing. And as far as like all my other symptoms that I had, when I got off the birth control, I think it was like maybe a month to 2 months that my body was like cleansing out and, you know, balancing, and with the foods and the things that I was doing. I want to say most, if not all of those symptoms were gone, like in a month or two. And it might have even been a little bit quicker than that for certain symptoms, but I finally got my sleep back. Libido was one thing that I still had to work quite a bit on. And even I still do, because my cycle is just one of those things that after having my babies, like I still don't have a cycle. It's been 13 months since I had my second daughter. And yeah, like it just takes my body a lot of time. And especially if I'm not working really strategically on cleansing, for one, my liver, and alkalizing my lymphatic system. Like those two things are huge for me and my cycle. So I have incorporated liver flushes pretty regularly. I don't know, it was probably a few years ago now. I ate probably like 98% raw fruits and vegetables and like plant foods for about 10 months. And my body like transformed in that time. I had a crazy like hair transformation, like my hair grew so much and my skin got super clear. And then once I started incorporating liver flushes, my cycle responds to that so well. And in all of this, I use herbs, not every single day, but I do try to use them regularly and support my body using herbs and herbal formulas. So if you're interested in any of the things that I'm kind of mentioning, definitely check out some of my health and like detox videos. I get into a little bit more of like the products and the approach that I take with this sort of thing. And hi. And also my Linktree, which is Linktr.ee /Curating Simple. I have like affiliate links to some of my favorite stuff that I use there. So if you're interested in those kinds of things, definitely check that out. And yeah, let's see. So now the point that I'm at in like my health, a lot of my symptoms that I had before, like I don't have those anymore. But now that I've just like gotten older, I've had a couple babies and I've done some work, a little bit more work on my liver. I have different kinds of symptoms that are not like, I wouldn't say they're really affecting my quality of life, but just because I know that I can improve upon them, like I think about them and I do try to be intentional about like my diet, the foods that like the herbs that I'm taking, things that I put on my body. I'm still pretty natural, non-toxic. Like I keep beauty, hygiene, diet and all that stuff. I try to keep it simple and relatively balanced. And I do go through phases where I'm more intentional about, okay, I'm really trying to target this root cause, and then my symptoms, they are influenced by how I target certain aspects of my health, if that makes sense. I hope that came out right. So right now, again, like I don't have a cycle, but when I take pituitary gland herbs, because I know I have a pituitary gland weakness, and when I am eating more alkaline foods and doing liver flushes, like that's just such a big one for me. The liver is like the chemistry processing plant of the body. Like it filters everything. And because I took hormonal birth control for like 5 to 6 years, not like the entire time. There was a couple times in that 5 to 6 year period when I wasn't very consistent with it, or I was just like not using birth control altogether. But that really took a toll on my liver. Like all those extra hormones that my body was trying to process, not good. So in the recent past, I've had some duodenitis symptoms. Let's see, it's probably been about a year that I had like my first experience with duodenitis, which was interesting. I think I made a video about that. I didn't make a follow-up video, but it's pretty simple. I just approached it the same way I would approach any kind of inflammatory issue with my body. Lots of alkaline foods, lots of hydration, light meals, or maybe a little bit of fasting or intermittent fasting. It's basically just kind of what I did and what you might consider doing if you have inflammatory issues. But again, if you have questions, I like answering health questions. So let me know. And yeah, so I've had some duodenitis symptoms, and that's basically just like, it was a really interesting sensation in my stomach where I felt like I was starving. It was like a really intense hunger pang, but then it was like kind of uncomfortable. Food would satiate it for a little bit, but then it would come back like I was starving. So then I knew like, okay, I wasn't actually hungry. It was something else, and I should not just keep filling my stomach. That's not what you want to do. And there was one other thing that I dealt with recently, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was the next thing I was going to say, and I forgot. But yeah, so just as I notice like different things come up with my body, like I just get a little bit, not stricter, but more focused with how I'm eating and that sort of thing. But it's a really nice thing to have a cycle, even when you're not trying to conceive. Just the way that women's bodies were designed to like ebb and flow and have, oh, you good? You know, have that like range of sensations and emotions. Just, I don't know. It's when you have a menstrual cycle and it's balanced or relatively balanced, that's a beautiful thing. So that's just something that I'm wanting to be working on, I don't know, coming up here in this like near future-ish, especially over the summer. In the summer, it's extra easy to get, you know, fresh, ripe fruits and vegetables and things like that. And we'll be growing stuff in the garden. So that always helps. Max, no. He wants to come inside, but he's just barking at sounds too. And I think the neighbor maybe. Yeah, Maxie, no bugging. No more bugging. How's your frutas? Anyways, I'll be doing some liver flushes coming up here. I might do one tonight. Oh, here was another thing I wanted to mention. I finished putting together a video this morning about some of the foods that I like to make and that I really enjoy eating. I put the audio on the video today, and the audio kind of sounds all over the place. I tried to make it sound, you know, make the audio sound a little bit consistent throughout, but there are some parts in there where it's just kind of like, I can tell you recorded this in chunks. So if you do decide to watch that, I haven't posted it just yet, but if you decide to watch that, thanks for like sticking through some funky audio in a couple spots. And I hope that you find some of the foods and meals and kind of what I talk about inspiring and helpful and delicious if you decide to give them a try. I wanted to only talk for about 20, 25 minutes, and I'm at the 20-minute mark now. So yeah, this is me. I'm Alexis. I'm into holistic health. I'm into parenting, relationships, kind of like frugal, balance, minimal, I don't know, just feeling good, having a lifestyle that you feel good about. And a huge part of that is your health and your wellness. And I think we can all take back some of that control a little bit and do things intentionally and strategically to set ourselves up for success and feeling better in our body, our mind, our relationships, our finances, things like that. So yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, or you're interested in anything like that, or you want me to answer any kind of like questions you have about certain lifestyle and health aspects, let me know. I love answering those questions. So yeah. Oh man. I guess you'll see me in future live and the next video that I'm posting later today. Be sure to check that out. And again, check out my Linktree as well. I think there's some really worthwhile things to try there when you're looking to improve your health in a balanced and really sustainable kind of way. And I'm always happy to help you along your journey with those products as well. So, alrighty, I'm gonna get on with my day with these girls and these dogs here, and you'll see me later. All right, bye now.